So those are the installations or a short summary of the ones we've been involved in. But what our customers are telling us is that they're seeing savings and ROIs in the area of 5 to 18 months. When you look at the linkage-less versus the jack shaft type system. So I think most companies out there from a capital standpoint are pretty happy with 5 and 10 and 12 month ROIs, and even 18 months are very attractive. So this seems to be the general flavor of what we're seeing out there in the marketplace on the jobs that we've done. And the other question we always get is, okay, how much is this going to cost? So what we found, depending on whether it's Control Links or Nexus FireEye, we're talking about $8,000 to $20,000 per boiler installed, and that's not without without O2 trim. So that'll give you an idea of the ROI and the cost per boiler to implement, and I think you'll have to agree that's quite affordable. So other solutions around the boiler that we wanted to remind you of. One, of course, is Flame Safeguard. We do both the Honeywell and the FireEye Flame Safeguard. And John Dempsey from our office always reminds me to tell people, please don't buy refurbished Flame Safeguard controls. They do not meet the insurance company requirements. So be careful when you buy those upgrades. We talked about VFDs. We have several brands of VFDs, Yaskawa, Siemens, GE, and others. Gas meters, this is one of the gas meter technologies with no moving parts that we use on the NJDEP requirements to meter gas into individual boilers. We do steam meters, vortex meters, and other technologies. Gas detection based on some of the recent incidents, both in Connecticut with Clean Energy, where they had a natural gas explosion, and down at the Slim Jim plant in North Carolina, where they had a similar incident. The NFPA right now is working on a new code that's going to require boiler room operators to put in gas detection, and Honeywell's got a real nice gas detection product to fulfill that need. Paperless recorders, we're seeing a lot more people put them in because they can be networked on the customer's plant network. The one job I talked about at Cadbury, we just finished a new one in Morris County, where we put in 17 gas meters all networked to the customer's job site, at the customer's job site, and each month the recorder automatically emails the end user of what the gas usage was for that previous month, so they can now report and be compliant with the new NJDEP regulation. So those are other things that we do around the boiler room. What's the best boiler room profile? We've done single boilers by themselves. We've done multiple boilers. It seems like 50 horsepower seems to be the starting point for Control Links. You need to have modulating control. If it's just straight on-off boilers, the system we talked about is not going to work. And customers that use boilers to generate steam for process or for heating are both, we find good opportunities. And of course, customers that want to save money and fuel on fuel, which is pretty much everybody. But the jobs we've actually done and gone back and done calculations, we're seeing 6 to 10% of savings, and again, that gives you that ROI of 12 months or below. So lastly, when Chuck or I go out, or Bob Thomas, or we go out with the Honeywell or the FireEye guys, these are kind of the questions that we seek out. So if you're interested from what you've heard today, start thinking about these kind of things. Are your flame safeguard controls obsolete? Do you have mod motors? Pretty much 95% if you have jack shaft on the fuel-air ratio. Get some of the part numbers together. But if you don't want to go through that, we can just send you out this little survey form, or if not, Chuck or I or one of our fellows will actually come out with this form, take the data, come back, get back to you with the proposal and with the suggested or estimated fuel savings. This is what we do as a company, and we find that people appreciate that. We're not just a hardware supplier. So that pretty much ends our webinar today. Appreciate your attendance. Here's some contact information. Chuck's information in the Midwest, my information here in New Jersey. You can email either of us. You can call either of us. If you would like a copy of the presentation material, If you'd like for us to come out and do an energy-saving presentation at your site for your management, we're happy to do that. Or if you'd like to have an engineer come out and actually start a survey and see if you're a good candidate for this linkageless system, we're happy to do that. The best way to get in touch with us is to either call us or email us at moreinfo@icdmail.com, and that information will then be given to our closest branch office to your location.
Okay, thank you guys. At this time, I'd like to read some of the questions that came through. We did receive a question from Jeff. If the points on the curve are programmable, why don't they more closely resemble the curve?
Well, actually, the points on the curve do mirror the curve once they're set up. I think you saw on one of those slides we had 24 points, or not quite that many, but we had several points that lined up right on top of the curve. And that's determined by Stack Analyzer.
Yeah, that particular slide, Jen, the curve of the control links actually painted over the combustion curve, so that's an exact match of 24 points of the control links adjustment on fuel air ratio, and it basically blanketed the combustion curve so you couldn't even see it anymore.
It was the mechanically linked curve that only linked up to 2 points.
Okay. We received another question in from Dan. Is this retrofit approved by all boiler manufacturers, and does this retrofit affect active warranties?
It is approved. It does not, to my knowledge, impact any warranties. I've not had any problems with it at all.
Yeah, I'll jump on top of that. A lot of the applications where we've installed control links or the FireEye Nexus systems are on a lot of boilers that are actually out of warranty and they're older. We've done a number of boilers where they're maybe, I think the newest one was like 2 years old, and that didn't affect the warranty at all.
Okay. Okay, so we got a question in from Tom. How long does it take to install a linkage-less system on a boiler?
That's a great question. I've worked with both end users directly installing this equipment and mechanical contractors. I tend to be a fairly conservative fellow when I'm talking about installations and stuff like that. So I break the installation up into 4 steps. Demo, physical install, wiring, and commissioning and startup. So for the demo, which entails taking off jack shafts, oil metering valves, taking off the foot-mounted actuator, I usually put in 1/2 to 3/4 of a day. Physically reinstalling everything, probably another 1/2 to 3/4 of a day. Wiring, I tend to really want to take my time wiring this system into the existing boiler controls that are there. So I usually put 3/4 to 1 day. And then commissioning and startup is about 1/2 a day. So you're looking at about 3 days total for install. I have customers and that do it a lot faster than that. But as you gain experience and comfort with the system, it'll quicken up. But usually about 3 days.
Yeah, good job. In fact, it's interesting. One of the reasons we decided to do this webinar here in May and not wait for the heating season is that there's still enough time to do the analysis, get a proposal submitted for funding, and still get the job done in a matter of days during the summertime. So when heating season comes up here, October, November, your boilers will be running up and running with the linkage-less control system, and you'll be saving that fuel that we talked about.